Hi everybody and welcome. I want to talk today about the EIDL and the PPP, options for free money and excellent loans from the US government. I've written extensively about unemployment, about the stimulus. I've even written about the EIDL and the PPP. However, I'm still meeting many people who don't realize that they are eligible. So watch this video. You may find out that you are eligible. And even if you're not eligible, share this information with a family member or a friend who may be eligible themselves and you can help them out financially. A disclaimer before we start, this video is not financial or legal advice. It is here for educational purposes only, and you are responsible to do your own due diligence. So there are three options being offered, two from the EIDL and one from the PPP. Let's go through them. Well, the first one from the EIDL is $1,000 completely free. Unfortunately, it's crossed out because their funding ran out yesterday, so they discontinued this part of the EIDL. We'll see and hope perhaps it will reopen if they get more funding allocated. The second one, which is available, is also from the EIDL, and it's a loan of up to $150,000 with low interest. And the third option is from the PPP, and that's a completely forgivable loan. Basically, it's free money, and we'll hear about all these three options as we go through the video. Now, all of these we're going to talk about. It's just going to be an overview with the basic details so you get a picture of what it is, but we're not going through all the fine print, all the details of it. Now, all of these are for businesses with financial hardships due to COVID-19. That's what they're aimed at. Wait, is this just for businesses? How about individuals? Well, a person, an individual, could be a business. If you're self-employed, you are a business. Are you eligible? Let's see. Well, if you're self-employed, you're eligible. What does self-employed mean? Well, you could be self-employed if you earned any money via 1099 last year in 2019. It could be if you earned any money not on a W-2, which means even if you did earn some money on a W-2, you worked for a company, you earned money on a W-2, but you also earned some money on the side not on a W-2, you're self-employed. If you're a freelancer, you're self-employed. If you own a property for profit that you rent out, you're self-employed. There are many options for you to be self-employed, and then you are a business. How about if you run a small business? Obviously as well, you're eligible. If you run an LLC or corporation, if you run a nonprofit, you're eligible. So there are many, many ways you can be eligible for this. See the full list on the SBA's website. So the first option we mentioned was a $1,000 advance that you can get for free. Self-employed people get $1,000. If you're a small business and you have employees, then you get $1,000 per employee, up to $10,000 for 10 employees. But as we mentioned, as of yesterday, July 11th, the funding was finished. They used up $20 billion in funding just on the $1,000 advances. But stay tuned in case they release more funding, so you can subscribe, and I will let you know if they open up more funding. The second option, also from the EIDL, is up to $150,000 loan, which you get for 30 years at 3.75% interest, and the interest is deferred for the first 12 months. Basically, you don't have any payments that you need to make during the first 12 months. The first payment you need to make is after 12 months. Now, if you have a few LLCs, a few different businesses or entities, then each one could get their own EIDL. So for each LLC, for example, if you have a few LLCs, you can have EIDL for each one. How big of a loan can you get? We said up to $150,000. How do they calculate how much you will get? Well, what they do is they take your gross revenues, which basically means all the income that your business brought in before any expenses, and they divide it by 2, and that's what they give you as a loan. How about if you worked via 1099? What's your gross revenues? That would be your total 1099. That's what you brought in. So it would be your gross revenues divided in 2. That would be your loans. If you brought in $50,000, you'd get a $25,000 loan. How about if you sold goods, you sold items, then you would take the cost of the goods sold, and that's deducted before the revenue, before they divide it in 2. Now, if you do manage to get the $1,000, if they reopen up funding and you get the $1,000, then the loan will be minus the advance. So in our example, if you had a $50,000 revenue, and you already got the $1,000, so instead of getting a $25,000 loan, you would get $24,000 loan, and the other $1,000 would be completely free. And the maximum loan is $150,000. Even if you have more than $300,000 in revenue, you would still be maxed out at a $150,000 loan. And the third aspect we mentioned is a PPP, which is a completely forgivable loan, which means you don't have to pay it back. It's free money. And I know we've all heard about the PPP as in big businesses were getting it. Well, it's not just for businesses. As we mentioned, if you're self-employed, you are a business. So how much of a PPP, of a completely forgivable loan, can you get? Well, if you're a business with employees, then you just look at payroll from 2019, and 2.5 months of payroll is what you're going to get as your completely forgivable loan. But what about if you're self-employed? You don't have like payroll, so what do you look at? Well, actually, you kind of do have payroll. if you look at your Schedule C, which is part of your taxes from 2019, and then you look at line 31, I'll show you an image in a minute, then that is your payroll. So you take that payroll, line 31, and you divide it by 12 for 12 months, and then you times it by 2.5. It ends up being approximately a fifth of your line 31. So for example, if you had $25,000 line 31, you would then get a completely forgivable loan of $5,208. Now the maximum they look at for line 31 is $100,000, which means even if your line 31 is over $100,000, you would still be maxed out at $100,000. So you would take $100,000, divide it by 12 times 2.5, you would end up with $20,833. Here is an image of the Schedule C from 2019. Look at the highlighted yellow box, line 31, with the arrow pointing to it. All you got to do is look at that number. That is your take-home salary if you were self-employed. Again, even if you separately had a W-2 and you're a worker for a different company, doesn't matter. This is your business income, and that's your salary that you earned from your own business. Let's recap what the three options are. Well, you have the EIDL, which is $1,000 completely free that was available. Option 2 was a $150,000 loan at a 3.75% interest. If you have a nonprofit, by the way, it's 2.75% interest that you pay up again over 30 years. And the third option is completely forgivable loan based on 2.5 months of payroll, or if you're self-employed, 2.5 months worth of your line 31 in your Schedule C. So can you get them all? Yes, you can get 1, 2, or all 3 of them. Well, technically you can't get the $1,000 grant now because they ran out of funding unless they reopen it. And also you should just bear in mind that if you got the $1,000 grant, then it's meant to come off the PPP. You might have to pay it back. Time will tell. They might forgive it, but we'll see. How about if you're getting unemployment? Can you still get all 3? Yes, you can still get all 3 even if you're on unemployment. The EIDL $1,000 advance, no problem to get if you're on unemployment as long as they allocate more funding. How about the loan? Up to $150,000 loan? Yes, you can be on unemployment. No issue with getting the loan either. PPP as well you can get if you're on unemployment, a completely forgivable loan. The only thing you have to remember with PPP is that it's meant to be used for payroll. So even if you're self-employed, that money is your payroll. So you have to ensure that you have time before the end of the year that it won't contradict your unemployment. So how do you apply? Well, the EIDL $1,000 grant and the EIDL loan are all part of one application, and that's direct with the SBA. There's a website you apply directly with the Small Business Administration. And as we mentioned, $1,000 was not currently available as of yesterday. The PPP, on the other hand, you can't apply directly with the SBA. That goes through a bank or a lender. There are lots of banks and lenders that are offering that you can apply through them. Now, how about doing it yourself versus paying somebody else? Well, all these applications are completely free. If you have your numbers and you know what you're asking for, you can do them all on your own. You can fill out the form. There's no cost to pay anybody to do it for you. If you're unsure or you're worried, then you could work with somebody. There are people that are offering to help, and that obviously can come along with a cost, but the actual applications are completely free. What are these abbreviations we are mentioning? Well, the SBA is the Small Business Administration. It's actually a federal agency that helps small businesses. Then the EIDL is Emergency Impact Disaster Loan, is meant to help businesses during disasters, which unfortunately we're in one now. And the PPP is a paycheck protection program meant to help employers keep their employees employed during this disaster. I hope you found this information helpful. If you know anybody else who may be helped by this, please share it with them. For more information about all COVID-19 financial assistance, please check homeandemployed.com. And if you want to be notified of any future updates, for example, if the EIDL releases more funding for the $1,000 grant, or if there's another stimulus from the government, or if unemployment gets extended, please make sure to subscribe. Good luck and stay safe.